Hi everyone, my name is Brooke Nilsson from Potsdam Music Business Club, and I'm here with Alex Gray. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We're going to talk about his new album that just came out yesterday, March 20th, called Into the Mind of a False Genius. So I listened to it yesterday and a little bit more this morning, and it's really, really awesome. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So do you want to go into your songwriting process a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So for that album specifically, I kind of wanted to branch off into kind of whatever I wanted and not limit myself. That was something that I would have done prior, is just write kind of jazz stuff because I'm a jazz musician by trade. So for that whole album, um, writing it, there's a theme that I wanted to put on the entire thing. So there was a couple songs I already had written, and this process for those songs will be like I'll wake up one day and I'll be like, "Hey, I got this melody in my mind," and either I'll go to my guitar or I'll go to a piano. If I'm home, I'll go to my piano, but I don't have it here. So I'll go to my guitar, I'll play some chords over the melody I hear in my head, and then kind of just go crazy from there. Try to figure out like what kind of genre would it be? Would it be kind of like an R&B song? Would it be kind of a jazz standard? Would it be kind of a indie pop rock something? Just uh, I kind of go crazy with that, and then from there, sometimes I'll have lyrics in my head with the melody, and I'll come up with like uh, a chorus, and then I'll write verses after that. But the whole I start out with the structure of how I want the song to be, and then I fill in the blanks as I go. And if I have a theme that I'm following, then I'll follow that theme. But if I don't, I don't. I try to not limit myself and force myself to write certain styles. I just let it happen. So specifically for Into the Mind of a False Genius, it started out as me thinking about like what you know, the first song on that started off as like, I'm gonna write a song that sounds so complex, but is really like so simple. And I just sat down at a piano and I just started playing chords and moving them up half steps and down half steps. And then I just kept layering stuff on, kind of improv-esque. So that was specifically that song, was just full on improvised. Um, and then the rest of it, just came to me either through life experiences or I just wake up one morning. I have a journal that I write stuff in. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of for my writing process.
So you said they just come to you like your lyrics. Did they you just like they just magically appear in your head? Like there's not like anything specific you do?
It depends. Let me think. I'm trying to think of specific. For Heart of Gold, the song on my album, that was that was the Heart of Gold part came into my head one day, and the melody of it kind of came into my head. And then I started messing around with different tunings on like the guitar and just trying to see how wacky I can get with it. Um, and then for the rest of it, it's thought out methodically. So a lot of times it'll start out of something just came to my head, and then there'll be a process of what do I want the song to be about? Is this song going to be about something I experienced? Is this song going to be something about a made up fictional character in my head that's going to go through heartbreak or friendship or loss, so a lot of times it starts out just showing up out of nowhere, or like, I wake up and I have like this phrase and I'm like, okay, that could be cool over a melody like this, or I'll have a melody. There's always something that starts out as just coming to me, and then I build off of that.
Interesting. I definitely relate to that. So do you play every instrument on the album?
Yes, sort of. I play everything, with the exception of the drum midis. I play them to the best of my ability on like a drum pad on a mini machine. And then I kind of quantize them and I touch up my mistakes because I'm not a drummer. But the piano stuff I play, the guitar stuff I play, the bass. is a mix of me playing it on an actual bass and a mix of me playing it on a MIDI keyboard. And flute, clarinet, saxophone, all me. Uh, that's my bread and butter is woodwind instruments. But and then singing also me. And I also try to mess around with like pads and whatnot and other keyboard sounds to add cool effects. But yeah, all of it's me.
It's very impressive. Have you been like producing your own music for a while?
Actually, not that long. This was kind of my COVID project. I never really wrote music. Well, I wrote music. I just never had the confidence to like put it out there or actually produce it. So it started off like with my first album, Down the Road. That was purely just to say that I made an album. I learned how to produce my music. I learned what sounds good. I learned what doesn't sound good. And the final product I wasn't completely happy with. But that being said, I got some great feedback from it and I learned from it. And that's what got me to produce this album and try to go as crazy as I can and express myself the best of my ability. So I've been producing my own music for a year total now, and I've just been trying to learn as much as I can. I started out on GarageBand, and now I use Logic, and I try to use other DAWs, digital audio workspaces, to figure out what else could be done. But I keep trying to do new things, seeing what sounds good, what's my voice versus me trying to sound like somebody else, and all of that.
Cool. I didn't expect to hear vocals on there. Just like from looking at your profile, I just thought it would be all instrumental, but I was surprised and it sounded really good.
Thanks.
Do you have any inspirations that you thought of already in, um, I guess, the album as a whole?
Yeah, a few of them, I mean, I have overall influences. Like I think anyone who is a close friend of mine knows that like Rex Orange County is a big influence on me.
Actually,
Uh
the third song, can't remember the track name. It sounds like an Orange County
Dear
song.
is it Dear Lady of My Dreams?
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah, that one is solely like that is the song that people are like, "Hey, dude, you sound like Rex Orange County there." And it's like, "Well, yeah, surprise." That was a big influence on that song. Just use of like um I don't know, it's like his song's so free and it's meant to tell a story, then follow a structure, and that's kind of like what I wanted to give out in this song. And a lot of times his songs are so simple that that's the beauty of it is that it's so simple. So just putting piano and vocals, and then I added flute because I couldn't help myself. But that was just kind of like me trying to write like him and kind of speak to people. And that whole song became a like if I was to meet a girl and if I was to fall in love, what would I want them to know about me? What kind of insecurities would they need to know? What kind of stuff do they need to know going in? So that's what that whole song's about. And just trying to be my authentic self is kind of how I feel with Rex Orange County's writing, where he's trying to be his authentic self. He's not trying to write for somebody. He's writing for himself, which is that indie aspect of music that I love. So that specifically inspired that song. Um, the other ones, oh geez, Heart of Gold was heavily inspired by Jacob Collier, specifically because I used the same tuning that he uses on his guitar a lot, which is like an open fifth type tuning with like a second and a fourth. And I just sat down one day and I was like, all right, I want to get better at guitar because I think guitar is probably one of my weaker instruments. And I just started messing around with all these different tunings, and I fit Heart of Gold over that tuning, and I was able to create cool sounding lines instead of just block chords. Um, who else? Uh, I'm heavily influenced by jazz musicians. Miles Davis, even some of his like psychedelic jazz stuff is just it's so wacky, but I love it. John Coltrane, Dexter Gordon, just being a saxophonist and a jazz saxophonist. Stevie Wonder is a great influence on me. Love him. And then there's also some of the like, I guess the New York standards like Billy Joel. Um, yeah, I try to absorb everything I can. I try to listen to as much music as I can, try to be as diverse as I can. Um, I even uh, a band called Primus I love, but I wouldn't say they influence my music, but I try to take aspects out of everything. But there's obvious representations of artists in some of my songs, like Dear Lady in My Dreams. Um, Heart of Gold doesn't really scream Jacob Collier until I tell you that I used his tuning and I stole his guitar tuning. But yeah, being a jazz musician makes me realize that you can steal ideas as long as you build off them and make them your own. It's not stealing, it is inspiration. And it gets to a point where somebody can be like, dude, you just totally ripped that guy off. Like you totally ripped off that song. And then I could be like, yeah, okay, maybe I did. And then I'll like take a step back and be like, all right, where's my line for inspiration and ripping off? And every artist has like a song that they'll write and be like show their friend and be like, oh, this reminds me of this song. And you'll be like, huh? And then you'll go and listen to it and you'll be like, oh, dang, like it's that song.
Yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah, it's that's why I try to use more than just one influence. It's nice when people can be like, dude, I can tell you really like Rex Orange County from that song, but when it gets to a point of this sounds exactly like one of his songs, that's where it gets uh scary because as a songwriter trying to express myself, I'm not really expressing myself if I'm stealing music from somebody. So that's a tough part. So I try to use so many influences. Wolfpack, Theo Katzman, Snarky Puppy, uh, gosh, list goes on and on. But I'd say right now, some of the biggest influences on me is uh, Rex Orange County, a little bit of John Mayer lately. I've been listening to a ton of him lately. Um, and I've been diving into a bunch of Beatle albums also again, like Sergeant Pepper. So I guess the Beatles have been kind of inspiring me lately. But that is my go-to right now.
Cool. My favorite track on your album is the second one, Another Pill. I really enjoyed that one. What is your favorite
Yeah.
track?
What is my favorite track? Oh, geez. Another Pill is really good, but I think Heart of Gold is my favorite. Just the story behind it and kind of like the process of my life I was going through. Um, that was the song that I was so scared of releasing. And I like I played it for a friend of mine on like FaceTime and she was like, dude, you gotta record that. Like you gotta put that somewhere. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. It's very like that was the first time I actually expressed myself in a song. And I actually wrote that song before I wrote Another Pill. Oh geez, I wrote that song like almost a year ago. But yeah, that one, the story behind it and the personal reasons, that's my favorite song. However, Another Pill is probably my best produced song. That I learned so much in production quality, in production techniques. And also I got to use an electronic wind instrument on it, which was just so cool to buy off of Facebook Marketplace and try to play. Um, but yeah, that was probably my most fun song to record was Another Pill.
Awesome. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. Um, yeah, I'm not really doing much. I'm gonna take a break from writing music now. Uh, and maybe I'll do some collabs because I've been, time of COVID, it's hard to make music with other people. So that was kind of the reason I started doing this was because I couldn't make music with other people. So now I'm halfway vaccinated. So hopefully, when I'm fully vaccinated, I could look into doing collabs in a way, either virtually or, um, 6 feet apart, giving them a microphone and pressing record. But I want to do more collabs, and that's kind of like what I'm planning on to do in the future. And yeah, that's about it.
Oh, thank you for talking with us today, or just me. Um, Congrats on your new album.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me. It's fun.